Happy Sunday, last hour and a half of Sunday. Whew. Uh, I am having tremendous uh, difficulties with StreamYard tonight. Yes. And since I'm simulcasting, I don't have it set up the same way as I do my other one. So I'm going to take it slow because I know for a fact that most people right now haven't gotten the alert yet, knowing that I'm live. I tried to go live before and it wouldn't let me. So I know I haven't got my notification that I'm live yet. It's my show. So I'm going to wait for people to slowly file in. Woo, what a day it has been. I have not slept since we last talked. The reason being because A, I'm a night owl to begin with, and B, I had All In this morning and at 9 a.m. my time because it was in London, and I just usually don't get up. And I was afraid that I would be too groggy, so I kind of tried to take a snap, but it just didn't work. So I ended up just staying up, watching the buy-in, which is the hour before they give you on free on YouTube, before it aired on Bleacher Report. And then I watched All In today. I was gonna do, like I said, in the future on our Patreon stream. By the way, the Patreon link is in the description if you guys want to join that. I am thinking next week for All Out. Especially I think if it's on a Saturday, which I believe, I might do a watch party for All Out for those of you who are of the wrestling persuasion. So I'm going to put that link in there if you want to join. Like I said, I just got it set up yesterday afternoon, but if you watched last night's show, you kind of saw some of the stuff I have planned, some of the things I'm going to be giving away. T-shirts and stuff that I'll be doing, digital codes for movies and stuff, premieres and stuff. A lot of the leftover promotional stuff that we got going on. I got tons of it, and like I said, why not give it to you guys? If I have enough of it. So, still buzzing from last night's show. I did get a chance to rewatch last night's show because I do that all the time. The only way I figure that I'm going to get better at this is if I can if I watch myself and make corrections and things like that. Um, that I think I need to make. I'm constantly making adjustments to the show. I was really happy with last night's show. It went over, but not because of anything bad. We just had a lot of stuff to talk about. Obviously, we had the article that we went over, and then obviously we had the unfortunate passing of Mikey Sutton that kind of forced us to discuss where things are as far as like where we need to be as far as this pop culture talk and how hard we need to take it and what we need to really appreciate. And then the segments we had went really, really well. I mean, I like the way the Crow one came out. I like the way the Guns N' Roses one came out. So it just talking to you guys. So I had planned for a 2-hour show, but it turned into a 3-hour and 8-minute show, and I'm really happy with it. So I'm going to post the link in here. That one aired exclusively on the Sci-Fi Center. So here you go. For those of you who want to go see that. And also the donation link is in there. If you're in the Sci-Fi Center's side of things, it's pinned to the top of the page. Go ahead and put that in there in case you guys want to contribute to the Frappuccino Fund or the Streamlabs OBS Fund that'll be coming up here soon. Any of that stuff, you do not have to. You do not feel obligated. If you can, you can. If you don't, just by you being here, liking and subscribing to both these channels helps us out. So. All right, so it looks like it's starting to fluctuate as far as the notifications. I'll go ahead and start. Yeah, usually on Sundays, Daniel, I really like to because I'm available a lot earlier than I am. Saturdays and Sundays are the 2 days where I'm available the earliest, so I try to get to it right as possible. That way, if it turns out to be a longer than 40 some odd minute stream, I have time and so that it doesn't go into the next day if I don't want to. How you doing, Chappie? What's going on, Jacob? So you really think that Howard the Duck is the worst movie ever made so far? Yeah. I mean, dude, Where's My Car is like it. Every day I wake up, it's a constant competition between those two movies. But yeah, pretty much. Jalen Harris, how you doing? Can't stay tonight because of school and stuff, but I'll be back next time around. Okay, cool. Hey, well, thanks for stopping by, man. Hit the like button on your way out. Thank you very much. What are your thoughts on Oppenheimer is now eyeing a 950 million run at the global box office? You can thank Barbie. I really is as good as the movie that I think Oppenheimer is. I really think a lot of people got caught up in the Barbenheimer phenomenon, which is fine with me because I think that this movie deserved to make that kind of money. But just because a movie deserves to make that kind of money doesn't always mean that it will. And like I said, and this is coming from me, who's not the biggest Nolan fan out there, and I thought this movie was splendid. Ooh, thirsty. So yeah, congratulations, Oppenheimer. Yeah, Daniel. I really like the way that show. I like the way everything sounds. Usually when I watch one of the overnighters, there's usually something that pissed me off. I mean, not ruins it for me, but just like, damn it, I missed that. Like a couple of weeks ago, I really liked the show, but my sound, I had been talking through the wrong mic instead of my Amazon mic that's in front of me. It defaulted to the actual laptop mic, which ruined it for me. Um, there's a couple other things in there that it just didn't come together. But last night's show just came together really, really well. And the 3 hours didn't seem like a labor. I wasn't fighting myself through the 3 hours. Everything went the way it was supposed to go. Everything, we spent the amount of time on things that just seemed like just enough time for each topic. So I was really happy with last night's show. Let's see. Jacob William thought of Greta Gerwig's Barbie is projected to dethrone Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 as Warner Brothers' highest grossing release at the box office. They needed a win. They've kind of shot themselves in every foot available, but they need more of these. They need more of these. And like I said, their superhero division is not helping. In the long run, yeah, I don't know if it'll make it in its initial theatrical run, but I think once the Oscar nominate, if we have Oscars nominations this year, I think it'll get re-released, and I think that it will cross over to where it needs to. So where's it at right now? Where is Oppenheimer? I know it's closing in on in the nines, but I don't know what the exact. All right. Well, right now it's at 777 million worldwide. So it's got some work to do, but I think it could do it, especially on a re-release when the Oscars come around. So still on a budget of $100 million. Wow, production budget of $100 million. That's very rare. In the latest Empire magazine, Denis Villeneuve says he has written some of the adaptation of Dune Messiah, which plans to adapt depending on the reception of Dune 2. Listen, the reception of Dune 2 is going to be great. And this is where Warner Brothers, I wish they would stop being so damn scared. They really should have shot Dune 1 and 2 at the same time. It would have been a lot cheaper, but that's fine. But now what they should have done is they should have shot Dune 2 and 3 at the same time. Save yourself some money because you're on location. It's very expensive to make. But yeah, this like I said before, this softens the blow of getting Dune. Ooh, hey, the little chime. Ooh, what is it? What is it? Let's see. Chico Rivera. He's on my Facebook page. Felipe is his name. He likes it. Thank you, Felipe. Um, like I said, I think it softens the blow of having to wait till March to get part two. Knowing that they're working on a trilogy. But to me, I always thought when you started on these things like this, at least three movies was a given. But how you doing, Forrest? Don't corrupt my chat tonight. Damn it. Jacob Boyd thought I didn't really want to adapt to him. So okay, did you just type that? Oh yeah, if I succeed in making a trilogy, that would be a dream. Yeah, I can always say when you come out with these franchises like that, Godfather, I mean things like that, at least three movies. At least three movies. There's enough content for Dune to do 10 movies if you know the source material. But I don't know, how many of those, he wants to make. Blue Beetle had a 49% weekend drop, not too shabby at all. Yeah, I know a lot of people who are going to see it this weekend, and they were telling me that their theaters are doing pretty well with it. So who knows? I mean, like I said, it's only it didn't cost hardly anything compared to the make. I mean, Oppenheimer cost 100 million, and Blue Beetle cost 104. So where's Blue Beetle at? All right, so this isn't bad. I mean, it's at 81 worldwide with a budget of 104. And trust me, they didn't spend a lot of money promoting Blue Beetle, so that's probably right around where. So you figure, like I said, if it breaks even in the box office, I don't know if it'll come that close, but if it comes close to breaking even, then the rest of it is going to be PVOD. I mean, I'm pretty sure it can make 15 to 20 million on PVOD. Even bad movies are doing better on PVOD. So, like I said, I think it's going to end up roughly breaking even. I don't think it's going to lose them money. It might be a box office disappointment, but overall profit and loss, it's going to probably break even. I think. So. Chappie, I wonder why the Crow remake, despite being finished filming, hasn't gotten a studio to distribute it. That's a good question. That's a really good question. William thought on Blue Beetle reportedly in its box office run 140 million, 107 million. Yeah, like I said, that's I don't know if it's going to reach that because I don't know how much longer it's staying in theaters. Got other movies coming in. But once it reaches 104, everything else is graded because you're gonna put on PVOD. So, all right. Blade Runner 2049 didn't flop. No, I don't think that's why. I think Dune in general is so expensive to make that they wanted this. I don't think Dune had anything to do because remember, they had him doing. They were happy with Denis Villeneuve's performance. They got them. Listen, the studio got 2 Oscars out of that movie. I was part of the promotion here in Vegas for that movie, and I got the letters and I got the emails. They were very proud of Blade Runner 2049 when it got nominated. They were more than happy to send around those for your consideration letters to all the people who were voting for the Oscar. They were very proud of that because you know what? When it comes to the Academy Awards, that's a permanent thing that you can put on everything. And history doesn't remember box office, versus Academy Awards. It doesn't. Years from now, people are going to remember Academy Awards. There's a lot of movies that bombed at the box office that, or didn't make very much money, and but they won Academy Awards. Slumdog Millionaire. I mean, that comes to mind. I mean, there's a lot. Crash. There's a lot of movies that didn't make any money in the box office, but they won Academy Awards. And that prestige, you take that prestige back to your investors and your lenders and everything else. That goes a long, long way. So no, I don't think Blade Runner had anything to do with that one. Back when Dude said WB wouldn't let him shoot part 1 and 2 back to back. I didn't catch that. Well, it's funny. It's like I think if you look at Dune, Dune is an immensely involved movie. Dune, let's see, 2021 film. All right, so Dune low end is 165 million. Dune 2, and I know they had the budget ready because I remember them talking about this. For Dune 2, which is going to be, I think it's going to be even more because it's a much bigger. Yes, they don't have the budget, but Dune Part 2 is a much larger film than Part 1, so it's going to be even more expensive. So, not knowing what it was going to pull in at the time, they were just hesitant. That's just how Warner Brothers management was at the time. It's just How you doing, Jeebus? Hot take: Crow City of Angels is the best sequel and possibly even better than the first one. Okay, Chappie, listen, dude. The soundtrack of Crow 2 is fine. It's an okay movie, not a good Crow movie, and by no means on anywhere in this universe is it better than the first one. And you're trolling me. See, Fourth hasn't even gotten started with his trolling, but you beat Fourth to the trolling. Maybe like what, the Truman Show or the Matrix? Which one? Zachary Levi. There's a name I could hear less of. But thought of Zachary Levi reveals that he wants Shazam to work alongside Mason Films, Green Lantern, and DCU, even though he's not coming to play. Yeah, I saw that. Remember the advertising budget for Blue Beetle? No. There was no advertising budget for Blue Beetle. Not. They had licensing agreements for Blue Beetle. Like they actually got money from Blue Beetle for because they sold licensing fees, but they didn't. There was no real advertising budget. It was the first time since in the 13 years that I've been promoting DC films that we didn't get anything. Nobody got it. And this is not just me in Vegas. Our regional partners, most people barely even got screenings. I think the major markets got screenings. They skipped us. They didn't spend money on screenings. They didn't spend money on a lot of stuff. You could tell when Warner Brothers, like I've shown you guys examples, when Warner Brothers is spending money on advertising and when they're not. They didn't spend anything on this one. And a lot of the ads that they ran on TV were either ads on Warner channels or ads that they traded with. Because a lot of times you'll have networks that work with each other. They just trade ad time. So yeah, there's no 300 and 400 that's gonna be necessary to make Blue Beetle. Once Blue Beetle passes 104, maybe a little bit more, they're gonna be in the black because, like I said, they didn't spend a lot on this movie. Yeah, that's more than the red. That's just bad. That's just wrong. It's not a hot take. That's just he's wrong. William thought on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mutant Mayhem digital release date has been moved up to September. Yeah, I'm surprised they just don't have it tomorrow. That is the perfect movie to be put on PVOD. Why wait? What are you waiting for, in my opinion? So, I'm supposed to be doomed. I don't know why they decided to give me a break. What's going on, Jeebus? You okay, man? William is crazy. Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan's third highest grossing film, surpassing Interstellar, Inception, and Batman Begins. Well, Batman Begins ain't that hard to pass. You're thinking in these small terms, but yeah, you can, because when you go to your investors and say we just produced an Oscar award-winning film, lenders, investors, people want to be involved with you. They're more likely to put their money down. They want that prestige because it helps everyone. If you're a film company, if you're a financier, you're one. Remember Weinstein? Weinstein stacked up Academy Awards, and that's what helped him build funding to go around and turn around and get some of these movies made. All this other goofy stuff that he did and all the stuff he's locked up for was standing. But that's how these companies work. That prestige, when you win Best Movie or you win Best Effects or anything like that, you put that on, especially for a genre movie like Blade Runner that is a science fiction movie. When you are a science fiction or fantasy movie and you win Best Visual Effects, that's huge. That's huge. That brings up not only your movie in the genre, that brings up your movie in general. 2049 did something that Blade Runner didn't even get nominated for, if I recall right. Didn't even get nominated for Academy Award. Blade Runner 2049 won 2 Academy Awards. And trust me, when I bought the other versions of the DVD and the Blu-ray afterwards, within a week of it winning those 2 awards, they had re-released Blade Runner 2049 with that Academy Award thing right across the top. So yeah, it means a lot to them. I beat up the wrong kid and the gypsy cursed me. Oh, geez, that sounds like you know, but it's all money, dude. It's all prestige equals dollars. When it comes to these movies like this, prestige equals dollars. William Thought and David Loney says he will only use the volume of his Star Wars film if it fits. I know when it works. When it doesn't work, I have no fear of doing it in other ways. He knows his IP. I bet when Amazon does Blade Runner, if it gets made, they're cutting back costs. They're not going to cut back on Blade Runner. They're either going to do it like they want to do it, or they're not going to do it at all. That's the advantage of Amazon. It won't resemble the movie's tone. It will be an action film. Now, I have no evidence to believe that. That's just speculation. I mean, none of us have any evidence or anything to go on to understand what kind of script they're going to do. So I can't agree with that because there's no evidence to support that. Yeah, you asked me this last night, and yeah, like I said, all the people who have the most to lose, it's Netflix. Netflix is that they buy they do one thing, they have one product, and that they and that could be endangered with a different financial model. How you doing, Larry? What's going on? Not really, dude. No, they have deals with the theaters. The theaters need them to promote those movies. The theaters, they don't pay the theaters to always put those trailers in there because that brings the theaters traffic. The theaters want you putting their trailers in there. And trailer production isn't that cost because a lot of it is just editing. The internet doesn't cost you that much, depending on. But yeah, you got to remember what Warner Brothers already owns. They don't have to pay to put these things out in outlets that they already own. There's no middleman. And like I said, they did not spend very much of anything on Blue Beetle. Probably to the detriment of Blue Beetle, but there you go. I'm in the process of being a good Samaritan here. Okay. Well, I thought on The Last of Us season 2 was all mapped out, and the first episode script written before the strike began. We won't be able to start filming when we were hoping. Yeah, it's already taken so long to. In those HBO shows, this strike is killing me because it already takes forever to get these shows going. I mean, how long are we gonna wait for House of Dragon season 2? We had anything. The world minus Harvey Weinstein was the better place. Yeah, I saw that interview where he apologized because it was a small role, but she was like, she wanted to do it. She wanted to work with him. That's the one thing about Nolan. Like I said, his movies, they're not my cup of tea for the most part. But every actor I know that has worked with him wants to work with him. I mean, you just get those directors, like that have their wheelhouse. Like Martin Scorsese loves Leonardo DiCaprio, man. I mean, he'll use the hell out of him if Robert De Niro. Those are his guys, and people want to work with Christopher Nolan. Well, I thought a Marvel digital release date could possibly be eyeing a move from September 5th to September 12th. Yeah. Yep, but even September 12th for a movie that's over a billion is like I said, this in the old days this would be unheard of. The Miramax studio, with the whole scandal that happened under the Weinsteins. Although Harvey did fight for his directors, and he successfully got Scream an R rating instead of a dreaded NC-17. Yeah, he knew what he was doing. He knew his job. He was just a sleazy clown. Hey, investors, we just made a movie that makes zero money. In fact, it costs us money. Well, that's not true. And in the case of Blade Runner, so it costs us money. It's called Blade Runner. Do you want to invest? What do you get out of it? Awards. Okay, so obviously you're being silly. So you as a fan, I don't necessarily expect you to understand the prestige that those awards bring people and the money it brings you and what it does for your studio because you don't work in a studio. It means, trust me, it means something to them. And when you look at what Blade Runner did, and a lot of the stuff that made Blade Runner not make as much money as it could have, any studio that picks up the IP is going to know that they can do better. Amazon knows that they can do a better job of promoting the IP than Warner Brothers did. Remember, in 2017, Warner Brothers wasn't the best at anything. All right, so the budget for for Blade Runner was anywhere from 150 to 185. I've heard it was closer to 170. I know that they spent a decent amount of money. So with advertising costs, because I remember the exact dollar amount of they actually put that out to us on the conference call. So if you look at it, what it made in the box office, it made 267. So it broke even. But let's see. It also made money on PVOD, and it also continues to make money on physical media. It sold 22 million its first week in physical media. Now, you fanboys can look at that and not see the value in that, but that's why we're fanboys. That's why we're not handling the big money, because we can't see beyond certain things. Obviously, somebody at Amazon and other people, and Amazon actually bid for that. Other people wanted that. Other studios got outbid for Blade Runner. So obviously they're not thinking like you, Fourth. Sorry. Decker's a replicant. Thank you for your contribution. But remember, the lifespan was purposely added. Tyrell was doing his own experiments, remember, because they weren't supposed to be able to bear kids, and yet Rachel could. And Rachel didn't have a 4 years lifespan. And so so he didn't have to. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff Tyrell did. He took liberties outside of the program. He gave the retail people what they ordered, but he was doing things on his own. There you go. Now you put down the pipe, and now you're talking some sense. Ridley Scott has a hidden section of special features, the final cut where he admits Decker was always there. Yeah, and he's actually said these things. They did a lot of on-site advertisement the other night. How are you doing, Black Star Alpha, by the way? The other night I went through our stuff we got sent. Let me see if I still got it. Let's look. I don't think I deleted anything. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, we did stuff like that. We did screenings at our that's our screening room, by the way. My old screening room. We gave away Fandango tickets and stuff. We got we got sent those. I have that one. I still have that one, but I gave away those that night because that's what they wanted me to do. We got umbrellas. These umbrellas light up, though. That stem lights up. And then that's us watching the movie. So yeah, they spent a good amount of money, but they didn't put it a lot. They didn't do a lot of actual media on it, though, which is I think was a problem in my opinion. It did not lose Alcon $80 million. That number has been bantied about. It did not lose Alcon $80 million. And once again, you're on the outside of the window guessing. They made $22 million in Blu-ray the first week it was released, dude. So yes, they can make. And Blade Runner 2049 did well on PVOD because I know I bought it, and a lot of people bought it, and it stayed up in there. Those stats are available for you. And obviously, somebody that has a lot of money and position has said yes, where Fourth 1000 is saying no. No offense, Fourth, but I'm gonna go with Alcon, who's still spending money on Blade Runner, and Amazon, who's still spending on Blade Runner, and the other studios who bid for this project and got outbid by Amazon. So I'm gonna guess that amongst those people, they might know a little something that we don't know. Us guessing just makes us look silly, Well, there's a lot of women that had a lot of miserable experiences working with the Weinstein brothers. It is up to Ridley. It is up to Ridley. He hired the screen. It's his story. The screenwriter basically adapted Ridley Scott's interpretation for the movie. The screenwriter is an employee of Ridley. at the point. He hired him. He actually fired him too. So. Oh yeah, everywhere, everything all at once. Their best movie. Rachel is the first model with longer lifespan and capable of reproducing. That's the as far as we know. As far as we know, as far as a human, but as far as the lifespan goes, no, I think he had others. Remember, we only had one movie to explore a lot of this. Let's see what we got going on here. Hold on for a second. I got to type a message. Streamer. Caps. All right. Let's see. I don't know if the studio knew how to advertise a film because people like William can only do so much with limited promotion. Yeah, and they really the biggest problem with Blade Runner, and Amazon will not make this. No other studio will make this mistake. Warner Brothers, this is their mistake regime. We all know that what this era Warner Brothers did. Remember, this movie was released under a pretty shitty administration. They assumed that because Blade Runner had a cult following, that they didn't have to explain what Blade Runner 2049 was about. They assumed that Blade Runner, once again, you're talking to a guy who loves the movie, had enough cult draw that they didn't have to do a lot. They didn't have to put a lot into the advertising as far as, the plots and the trailers and everything else. They did a lot of physical stuff, putting out, letting you know that the movie was coming out, but they didn't do a lot to grab you. And you're talking about a movie that was 35 years in between, one and the other. With Top Gun, like I'm going to give you an example. Top Gun Maverick was the same amount of time, 35, 36 years. But every trailer, every piece of advertisement for Top Gun laid out a story to the point where you knew. They didn't even Top Gun's a huge IP, but they did not assume that you were going to be as glued mentally to a 35, 36-year-old movie as maybe your parents were, or maybe, a handful of fans were. Even though most people probably already knew about Top Gun, they didn't, if you look at the advertisement for Top Gun, they did not take that for granted. Blade Runner did. Yeah, and like I said, the theatrical version wasn't the version Ridley Scott wanted to release. It's the one he settled on. Rob Zombie made the best Halloween. He's now you're screwing with me. Yeah, don't waste your time. Yeah, no. And I like Rob Zombie, but I just don't like his stuff. Rob Zombie needs to do Rob Zombie stuff. If you see Rob Zombie's original stuff, that stuff is superior. When he starts doing the monsters and now, oh Jesus, ugh. I hate to think the R word. No, they should have properly advertised the one that they did. Blade Runner 2049 is one of the best movies ever made, in my opinion. I know I am biased, so I know it's hyperbole, but I love Blade Runner 2049. I watch that on a bi-weekly basis. I love that movie. I can memorize that movie. I can memorize Blade Runner, but no, the quality of Blade Runner wasn't the problem. They didn't make their case for you to come back to this 35-year-old IP to go see this again. Like other movies had. Like I said, Top Gun Maverick made the case for you to come back to Maverick after 35 years. Blade Runner did not. Both movies were of high quality, but Blade Runner did not make that case. They did not make that connection that they needed to do, and the connection was there to be made. Yeah, like I said, it's a bunch of shit. I wish I could find copies of the other version of Blade Runner. I have them all. I haven't seen any of them, but I love Blade Runner 2049. There's of the seven I have all seven versions of Blade Runner. For my recommendation, my opinion, if you get a chance, watch the international cut. The international cut is the most complete cut of Blade Runner. I always recommend that one to somebody who doesn't have it or hasn't seen it yet. It was an avant-garde movie that was ahead of its time. A lot of movies in the '80s bombed because there's a couple of reasons. There were some massive, massive movies that came out that year. I mean, Wrath of Khan, E.T. I mean, you had I think Rocky 3 came. I mean, there's a lot of movies that came out that year that were on the heavy end, and movies like Blade Runner and John Carpenter's Thing, you just didn't make it because they just weren't the wide appeal type movies. Blade Runner is not a wide appeal IP in general. You can make a lot of money with it if you if you hit the right audience, but it's not when you're putting it next to those wide mass appeal movies, it's tough. It's got the same. It's the same with Denis Villeneuve's movies today. The Arrival did not make a lot of money, but it's a great movie. It got nominated for an Academy Award, and it's if you look at Denis Villeneuve's films, they really haven't made a lot of money, but the movies are quality. They get nominated, for lots of awards. Hold on, let's see. I'm trying to see. Let's see. Hold on, I'm looking up. So his discography, Arrival. So Arrival. Let's see. Actually, you know what? Arrival. It's made 200 million. Arrival did, but on a nothing budget of 47 million. But a lot of that money, because I remember for Arrival, Arrival made the bulk of its money, a lot of its money after it got nominated because it got re-released. It got nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Adapted Screenplay, and won Best Sound Editing. And even Amy Adams got nominated. So let's see. All right, where am I at? No. Amazon doesn't need to do that. Amazon has a vision for what they want this to be when they bid for it, so they're not gonna skimp. They don't need to. Yes, I'm surprised I haven't run my mouth about All In. I thought All In was much better than it looked on paper. With All Out happening next week, I thought there was going to be a lot of skimping on the storyline because you had another pay per view that you're trying to get people to buy. I rather enjoyed All In. Some of the outcomes were predictable. The other ones were not predictable. My favorite outcome was the trios match. I thought that badass Billy Gunn was going to turn on them and join House of Black. He still may, but he did not, and it was a very enjoyable match. The women's match, I pretty much could predict that Saraya would win because it's in her front, her home crowd. Chris Jericho and Will Ospreay. No, it wasn't Ospreay Omega. But for where both of these gentlemen are at these points in their career, that match was amazing. That match told a story, and I enjoyed it. The stadium brawl was stupid. It was a complete waste of time. I need somebody to start booking John Moxley better than he is now. He's just somebody that's out there to bleed right now, and it's getting old. FTR and the Young Bucks, probably the best match on the card. It delivered. I mean, like I said, not either group's greatest match, but that's saying something when you talk about the types of matches that FTR has had in the last year or so. They've had some of the best matches in the last 10 years, and the Young Bucks don't have bad matches, period. So, to say that this wasn't their best match is not, that's a high bar I'm setting. It was a great match, though. It was the best match on the pay-per-view. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun with all that. Now, it's 10 a.m. in the morning, and like I said, you guys know I'm a night owl. So I haven't gotten any sleep. From stream to stream, I have not slept yet. So I am going to get some sleep after this. They should have made interesting stuff happen in Blade Runner, and people might mistake it for a movie. See, now you're just being a knucklehead. If the international cut is dog shit, though, They don't have to. You know what? Ignore fourth. This is one of those. Like I said, he went from last night having brilliant ideas back to being Walrus Man. The people I said the reason I said the all word is because most people only knew Blade Runner from the Big Bang Theory. So it would have been. I still think it would have been niche. I still think it would have been. I still think it would have struggled. And if they didn't present it right, it was going to struggle no matter what. They had the opportunity to get people connected with that movie. Warner Brothers did. They were just being Warner Brothers. That's what they do. William, if you want more exposure, talk to Jerry. He's been working the channel because he's going to be recovering. Oh yeah, he had surgery or something. Didn't he? I think I saw on my Facebook page that he was recovering from something. Cool. Yeah, it's way ahead. Blade Runner was way ahead of its time. Way 1982, 42 years ago. Blade Runner was way ahead of its time. 41 years ago. Cool. Enemy Mine, Louis Gossett. I haven't heard that one in a while. That was a weird movie too. That's a weirdly weird movie. Daniel, the real answer you seek is jeez. Daniel, the real answer you seek is boring. If not for Sidney's design, Blade Runner would have fallen into obscurity. Wow. Is 4,000 going to be the first one that I pull the trigger on? Yeah, a lot of people like her. Make me ban you for it. I'm not going to ban him. 1980, 78, 1982, 1984 were some of the best years of modern films. Yeah. Dylan Rivera Vasquez. What's going on? Jeff Bezos cracking down on streaming budgets, so who knows on Blade Runner. He's cracking down on things that they waste money on. What was the one thing that they league of their own, stuff like that. But I don't think that not every. They're also going to take it on a case by case basis. They're just not going to go wholesale slashing. I've seen Arrival, but I keep mistaking it for the remake of The Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves. I don't know, man. I really enjoyed the CGI shots. Yeah, damn it. This is no consulting. Missy Metropolis, how you doing, Bell? I'm watching The Flash right now. The bridge scene is even worse the first time I saw it. Oh, are you talking? Yeah, with the cameos and stuff like that. Yeah. How you doing, Bell? Yeah, I meant to start off the show with it, but I just got caught up in the other one. How you doing, Anthony? Fourth climbs the ladder and falls down the rungs 50. Yeah, he does. Okay, yeah. See now, yeah, now. Jeez, just cast a Big Bang Theory character and play on Amazon, then they'll make money. Oh my goodness, that sounds like a horrible idea for a movie. Let's see. I want to say 7. I know what I need to have from him. I need to have some more damn Mindhunter. Yeah, 28th today. Actually, it's his birthday in about an hour here on my coast. Let's look down his filmography. All right, he's got a pretty long filmography. So right now, I'm going to go off the right. 7 is my favorite one from him. Wow, I still have to hypnotize myself and brainwash myself and forget about Alien 3. One of the absolute worst movies of the franchise. And then 4 was not good either. So. But yeah, he's done House of Cards, but Love, Death, and Robots, which is actually pretty good. But as far as his movies goes, 7, but his shows, Mindhunter is one of the best things Netflix ever did. Oh, dude, you know what? You know what? Screw you, Barth. I love that line. only minor complaints in the sequel to Blade Runner is the sequelitis at the end, and then biggest ending other than well, like I said, the first one had an ambiguous ending. If you look at it, now we're still talking about that ending to the day. Yeah, they've already announced All In for Wembley next year. But yeah, this was a dude. That's a lot of people. 81,000, 35 people were there. Like I said, my only hang up is damn, it's not NFL Sunday yet, and I'm getting up that early. But but like I said, the matches were good. The crowd was good. A lot of times when you're in an arena that big, there's it's drowned out because they're so far away from the actual stage. But they got it right this time. Oh yeah, but that dude, the effects in that movie. People talk about CGI effects today. Go watch Alien 3, where it looks like they used a cardboard dog for the dog alien. It's just ugh. Yeah, then there's certain interpretations of the comics that they're not going to like, but they didn't have any problem with basically, like I said all the time, Superman murdering Zod, assisting Lois in murdering Ursa, murdering the other Kryptonians, and just flying off to be happy. Even though in the comic books he basically, exposes them to green kryptonite and they die slowly. So yeah, he's but they don't want to see Superman do what he's done in the comics, which is always weird. Black Star Afro. It seems like James Gunn did the same thing as the other regime by claiming Henry was not Superman. That hurt them in the box office. Well, the whole disorganization lacking continuity. It just like I said, the general fan is just too. If you want somebody to buy what you're selling, you got to make it easy for them to buy it. So many other franchises that are competing for the dollars are so much easier for the common fan to pick it up and go with it because they have good movies and they have continuity. The continuity is the important part. And DC, even once they get good movies, the continuity's been so shot that people are just like, you know what, your toy has too many bells and whistles on it. Let me pick up the simple thing. People just want to be entertained, and they don't want to be let down either. And DC has let people down. Like I said, you ever want to justify what DC did under the Hamada and the Emmerich regime? 5 years without Superman on the big screen. That should be enough to get anybody who has their hand on the DCIP fired. The first two for me, I loved Aliens, James Cameron's Aliens, but the first Alien is one of the greatest science fiction achievements of all time. So yeah, I agree with you there. Ooh, getting thirsty. The Social Network venture? It sure was. He's got a wide array of movies. He goes from serial killers to Benjamin Button, The Social Network, Girls to Dragon Tattoo. Done a lot of stuff with serial killers, so I'm happy to say. Yeah, when it's Fincher, I stick with 7. I don't like Fight Club. It's too long, but 2, I didn't like the twist, but that's just me. But like I said, Mindhunter. How do you guys like Social Network? I have not seen James Gunn's tweets about that. Old tweets. I haven't seen. I really didn't pay much attention to his his Twitter until recently. To be honest with you, a lot of people didn't. I'm not a Twitter guy, so he probably deleted them already. But I did not see the tweets, so I can't really, give you an opinion about it. Let's hold on here. Somebody's messaging me. Wow, I just got the live notification that I'm on air. I've been on the air for 58 minutes. 55 minutes, and I'm just now getting my notification. That's hilarious. Zodiac is actually a really, really, really good movie. The way that movie opens and begins with that song "Hurdy Gurdy Man" while he's killing those two, and a lot of it is BS because they went on certain hearsay and all that. The guy who wrote that book believes Arthur Lee Allen was the one that killed him. And it's never been proven. But that movie's intense. That's top notch Fincher right there. And he used a lot of that. I don't know, Beth, if you haven't watched uh, Mindhunters and you like Zodiac, you'll love Mindhunter. You will absolutely love Mindhunters. I think Burton is overrated. I think he has some good work out there. Don't get me wrong, but I think, like I said, same thing with Nolan. I think that people put Nolan and Burton on pedestals that I don't think they need to be on. To be honest with you, this is me. I try to bring myself to watch that movie. I saw that movie in the theaters, and it's just not one of those movies I want to revisit. I watched the thing the other day for like the 100th time. I can't believe I like that. I love that movie. The Thing is the greatest science fiction horror movie of all time. It's the movie that does it best as far as science fiction horror. How you doing, Azteca? Hey, how you doing, Bill? James Gunn didn't kill Calvin Superman with the foreign regime wasting 10 years. That's needed. Yeah, that's a good point. Also, William, why do not a lot of people have such a problem with Superman snapping his odd neck for he can say because they a lot of the general audience wasn't aware of the source material, and if they read the source material, they would be there. 1 week from next Thursday, real football starts. Yep. How you doing, Rhea? Question: do you think that people complain about the dumbest stuff and sometimes yes, on a daily, second by second basis? But that also creates content for people too, unfortunately. Nah, he's too old. He doesn't think anything like me, though. Lucky for him. David Fincher or David Lynch? David Fincher. David Lynch, I never connected with. I tried. David Lynch, I never. I think the only movie that I can rewatch with him is his Dune. I didn't like Dragon Tattoo or Benjamin Button's. Yeah, I'm blessed with Xenomorph, who is excited about a new alien film. I am. Not Prometheus, Romulus. I am. Death to Smooch is an underrated movie along with 24-hour photo. 24-hour photo was creepy as hell, man. And it's very underrated, and it's one of, to be honest with you, Robin Williams' best and most convincing performances. Yeah, Gone Girl was good. Gone Girl was good. Yeah, I have yet to see this. I keep it's recommended in my queue though. Yeah, it took me a while. It took me a while to realize who she was, but until everybody in the chat was calling her that, I'm like, "What? Is she here?" And I'm looking for her normal name, but then I realized she changed. And then when I clicked on her comment, I saw her picture. And I'm like, that's her. Always nice to have Bill back. Yep, he has a victim in the Inland Empire. I wasn't living there, but yeah, Riverside City College is where she was killed. Yep, she's rebranding herself. Well, all right, sure. How you doing, Keita Chow? You get mail. Yeah, I have that on my mail, so that, like I said, it's brings back good memories for me. But I get so many notifications on my phone, and not all of them need my direct attention, so they each have a different sound, and the mail is that one. Yeah, they caught that little dude. 72. Yep, they got him. Hopefully they'll catch other people. Question: What is it about Batman Superman that still makes you polarizing to this day? Every time you create, it's going to be the same with James Gunn. Every time you create you do a character like Batman or Superman, a character that basically our grandparents had their hands on. Yeah, everybody's has that interpretation that means the most to them, and it is part of their identity. So they are not necessarily as accepting to another interpretation, no matter how good or bad it is. Their Superman doesn't kill because some other version that they watched did, but this is not for them necessarily. So you got people that can't appreciate the time and place when these IPs are being recreated and redone. But yeah, it's like whenever you create a different representation of something that someone else knew or grew up with, it's like they feel like they're attacking your childhood or something like that. It's like it's almost like they think that their version of a superhero will mean less just because something else is out there, and that's to be further from the truth. Let's see. William, do you think it would be bad taste to have a serial killer history movie? No, not at all. We have a mob museum, and those guys killed a lot more people than anybody. I don't think so because we've gotten a crap ton of movies and shows. Yeah, listen, you can explore serial killing and these type of crimes without condoning it. It is history. It is part of the environment we live in. It is a learning experience. So no, I wouldn't be opposed to having this out there. There's a difference between glorifying something and studying something and understanding its cultural reference, like Jack the Ripper and things like that. Zodiac Kill. These are things that are part of our culture now. I mean, they deserve, they are worthy of being explored. So, just trying to get my bearing here. All right. Let's see. I've been to the Museum of Death, and it was mostly about how people deal with death, and they also had a serial killer section. There you go. Yeah, William, I love that Sting came out in his original theme music. Yeah, yeah. I had stepped away. I had stepped away from because I was watching it on my computer. I stepped away from the screen and I heard that. So you can, so you can destroy it on there. A lot of them had their old music, and because Warner Brothers paid for that music, and some of that music was by Warner Brothers Records, so they didn't have to. Yeah, I wish there was a trap door that I could just make wherever you're at in America. I could just open it up and you just go down there. The town that dreaded sundown. Yeah, that was about the Moonlight Texarkana killer back in 1946, and they remade it, and they had a remake one that a couple of years back, but the original one was in 1977, I think. That movie scared the hell out of me because just the way they presented it. Yeah, that's out here. Yeah, whatever, dude. I would have to say Lloyd Kaufman. Jack the Ripper's there. Yeah, we've reenacted a few years back, and we were supposed to do it this year, but we just couldn't get it together. We reenacted all 5 Ripper murders in my plaza, and invited guests in to track down the killer. Oh, they've made several. Now the best one, and it's bullshit because they just take liberties with who they think the killer is. But obviously, we don't know. But From Hell. From Hell is really good. No, I have not seen Talk to Me. Guys are too. I'm infatuated with him. Yep, Uncle Lloyd. The answer, what's it? The answer to that question is always rare. Okay. Starring Johnny Depp and what's her face? Heather Graham. I don't know about all that, but I don't know if I can watch that. How you doing, Hal? Wow, dude, where are we going? We're not going down the serial killer route again. We are not spending another hour and a half talking about serial killers again. Um, no, remember I was going to toss you over the railing. You don't remember that? But Alan Moore doesn't live any of his stuff to be adapted in movies. Yeah, it's just unfortunate too, because most of the stuff that Alan Moore has done, I mean, except for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which sucked, has been really good, high class stuff. I mean, he should be proud to be proud of it. So, oh well. Yeah, we always end up with serial killers or heavy metal. Gonna have to diversify. Hold on. Yeah, I want to get Ty on here. He's changed his format to UFOs exclusive. I want to get him on here. Okay. Yeah, he looks like a warlock. He looks like Rasputin. No, actually, I do, don't I? Okay. The Hasling Slasher. That's a hard. That's a tongue. It's a mouthful. Remember, guys, hit like and subscribe on both streams. Helps our algorithm out. I'm really starting to learn a lot about algorithms and stuff. Before this entire time, I was like, just push the button, push play. Hope I didn't blow up the show. Now that we're expanding and doing all kinds of different stuff, I need to know what works. So, like, subscribe, share. I thought it was bland, and I thought with all that star power, it should have been a lot better, but it wasn't. Jethro Tull. Most people hate that band not because they even know who the hell it is. It was the year that Metallica should have won for best metal band, and Jethro Tull won. That's how people know. That's Jethro Tull. I had never heard of them until then. Um, One of those is right. Oh yeah, there's tons of serial killers that are active now. Oops. Oh, whoa. These questions are coming in. John Carter was an obscure IP that they spent way too much money on, and they were never going to get it. Even for the people who did know who John Carter was, they were never going to get it to the level that those people were going to be blown away with it. So yeah, and this was a very expensive movie too. Sure. I got people for all those. Oh, I mean, Ray, you live in the city. You know, you live in Northern California, home of the Zodiac, man. I mean, he's probably dead by now, but you know, once you start getting up north, northwest, north, whatever, you're in serial killer territory. Barbie Runner coming out soon. Ugh, that would suck. Blue Barbie. If only Blue Beetle could have benefited from the rub of Barbie. Yeah, Washington. Yeah, Ted Bundy, Green River Killer, Spokane Shooter. Yeah, you got plenty of. Putin is a mass murderer. There's a difference. I just saw Barbie, even though I know William has no use for it. It was pretty good. You know what? I personally have no use for such a movie, but if you guys enjoyed it, congratulations. The Thing. The Thing. That's easy. Wow. No hesitation there. No, John Carter just wasn't a very focused movie. It didn't know what the audience was. I dare to say if they would have known what they were doing, what their target audience was, they probably wouldn't even made John Carter because it was nowhere to get what you needed to get out of that movie and nowhere to get it to what it should have been to please a lot of people. That's too much work going out there and killing people for thrill. Apparently not. Nobody was interested in the Lone Ranger. I mean, before you greenlight these movies, you got to gauge the interest and see if they'll even work. You know, and like I said, the Lone Ranger is just when people say, "Well, you can't just make movies because no one's asking for them," because I always say nobody was asking for a Lone Ranger, but then they say, "Well, nobody was asking for a Godfather," so they're trying to compare it. And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't have to ask for the Godfather. You knew what you had on your hands while you were in production of that movie. When you're going in the concept phase for things like John Carter and Lone Ranger, you better have some demand or desire for those movies because other than that, if you can't prove it at the concept phase, like The Godfather did, and have the pitch, if you're in the pitch meeting and your pitch sucks and you can't get anywhere with it, you shouldn't go forward, and they really shouldn't have gone forward with some of these movies. How about Nobody? I mean, that's a sick question, by the way. What the hell's wrong with you? Yeah, William, we talk about obscure IPs that don't resonate with general audiences. Why do you think Avatar 1 and 2 did so well? Because Avatar had an appeal, a general appeal. And the person that was doing Avatar, like I said, we were talking last night, like, and not every director has a following that can push it over the edge. But a guy like James Cameron is. I mean, James Cameron's name on top of something gives it instant credibility, and it gives him instant like, I'll try this. We're talking about a guy who in Terminator made one of the greatest science fiction franchises, turned around and made one of the greatest sequels to a already epic movie in Aliens, Terminator 2. I mean, this is a guy whose credibility going into Avatar, you're going to get through the door right there. You're letting James Gunn in the house. And once you're in the house, the movie I'm not a big Avatar fan, but for the fans of Avatar, it hit everything they needed to. So, and he did it again. People trust James Cameron. Marketing, they didn't go all the way with the story. They didn't use a lot. They just didn't. They just didn't do it. That was a lazily promoted movie. Yeah, Golden State Killer was the original Night Stalker. He had a couple. He had a couple of different names too, but yeah, Golden State Killer was the main one. But he moved around too. He was a cop. Yeah, I think Zodiac's dead. Either that or he's a very, very, very old man. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, every time somebody makes a post on their Instagram and they're oh, we're going camping, I'm like, this is how all the serial killer, this is how all the people died. I'm not answering this question, dude. This is a sick question. Too much work for me. Yeah, True Detective one is great. They're coming out with one. They're coming out with one. I looked at it, Google that, dude. They're coming out with a Bass Reed movie, and I am going to be there day one. I'm going to be there day one. For those of you who don't know, we talk about this all the time. Bass Reeves was the inspiration for the Lone Ranger, but it was at a time, obviously, in segregation and everything else, that the writer couldn't use Bass Reeves because he was black. So he created the Lone Ranger. Now the mask that the black mask that the Lone Ranger wears is a metaphor for the hiding of the black character, because the mask that the Lone Ranger wore was silly. You could easily identify him, but it was a metaphor. It was, I'm hiding the true black character with this mask. That's why he wore. That's why he wore the mask like that. Because originally it would have just been, a ranger without a mask. But that's why the mask is there. It was kind of silly. Army Hammer really screwed up his shot at being a top actor. You know what though? Time heals a lot of shit, man. Time heals a lot of shit. Kevin Spacey will be back on your big screen at some point. I don't know how successful he'd be, but you know what? There was a point in time where it didn't look like Kevin Spacey was ever going to come out of the witness protection program, but yet he's going to be back. Yeah, Fargo season one. Mary Elizabeth said. It depends on who's in it and who directs it. How would I pitch it? Wow, it's really. I mean, I don't even think you need to change the pitch, because the originals, the Zorro movie with Antonio Banderas and Captain Zeta-Jones did very well for its time. So I think you could do well. Um, I think it would do well with the demographic. Like I said, I think it did well with the demographic of the first one. I mean, I saw that in the movies. So I don't. I just think you need to get fresh new faces. Hey, get the guy who played Blue Beetle and plays wrong. Because remember, Anthony Hopkins was in that movie. Let's see. I'm getting sleepy. Actually, you know what, Bev? I haven't slept since yesterday, so yeah, I'm getting sleepy. So I'm probably going to roll this up. Yeah, you didn't have to. Yeah, you just it was a brilliant world that he brought you in, and people wanted to see it. Uh, all right, guys, I am starting to get really tired. Because like I said, I have not slept well since last night. I got up the stream last night, tried to sleep, couldn't sleep, and then got up and watched wrestling, and then went to work. So I am going to cut it off at there. If you guys got any questions, other than it's really really super one answered, you can leave them in the comment section. Leave them in the comment section of the Sci-Fi Centers page, because I don't get notifications. Um, I don't get notifications on Point Echelon, so it's with the Enosh. So if you want to get directly to me, you go right to my page and you just can respond to the whatever video you're watching. And I'm going to go ahead and put that into the chat right now, so you guys can and become a subscriber to my page. The Patreon link is in the description. We're gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be doing some stuff here really really soon. I really think that the first one is going to be AEW's All Out next week. I'm going to do a watch party, but there are some movies, like I said, that we're always bringing up movies. We always bring up movies and lists that people have. I think it's time for us to start having a watch party with some of these movies that you guys bring out. And we can't do it on YouTube, and I don't know how feasible it is doing it on Twitch, but or Twitch publicly. But I think there's a lot of movies out there that I think we can do watch-alongs with, and so if you join the Patreon, plus like I said, I'm giving away shirts and all kinds of stuff there. All right, guys, that is it. Oh wow, here you go. That's probably what I'm going to do. I don't even need the Benadryl this time around. I'm that dead tired. So, all right, guys, thank you for being the most interesting part of this entire YouTube experience. Thank you for last night, and all those who were able to make it last night. Last night was really good. We had really good numbers last night. The content was great. The chat was great. So I'm going to rewatch that show again and capitalize for what works for me and continue along with that. Until next time, good night, everyone.